Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. Today, I have a card reading for you. I want to mention again that I have an astrology workshop for those who are interested to learn how to interpret their own charts. It is not that the first part is 6 lessons. In the first lesson, we look about what is really the different approach from the astrology with the real star constellation compared with the Western or Indian astrology, because the astrology cannot tell you who you are, but it gives you the curriculum of your life. And if you have the exact birth time, this is very powerful to know this information that will help you to understand what is going on. And the first lesson is the introduction, and that to show you how we use it. And then we go the next 4 lessons through the elements, which are always 3 aspects. So we start with the fire. So we have the first fire signs, the second and the third, and each one is a different level of our life, our evolution, and also how the consciousness evolves during a lifetime. And then the last one, we make a summary, and you can use the best is not to use a lot of horoscope for yourself in the beginning to follow. So just 2, and I will send you those that you can understand the better when we have the samples, when you have some horoscopes to look at. So this will be a very powerful 6-week workshop. We will record it, and of course you can watch it anytime, but we have a time when the live sessions will happen. Okay, so now let's go to the cards, and I will share the screen, and I will put the link down below where you can find the details about the workshop. So the cards that we have today, we start with Yakshi, the tree spirit. We have a sun and a moon. And Yakshi's message is very clear. You have to go back to nature. You have to go back to let things evolve in the way of nature, natural versus normal. And these are 2 very different things. Normal is the norm that we have learned to live with, but this has absolutely nothing to do with natural and our true nature anymore. So once we reconnect to nature, the tree spirit will help you that you will find again the natural things also that you use. So for example, our taste buds are kind of trained through all this kind of processed food that we have to become addicted to certain things. And when we have natural food, it doesn't taste much for many people anymore. So I have also had that experience. For example, when you eat something that is very strongly processed, what I had to do lately in a restaurant, when I came home, natural food for a moment didn't taste well anymore. And I put actually a bit more salt, but then afterwards I was very hungry, thirsty. So our senses are not natural anymore, and we have to take a step back, a big step back, and start also to cook from the scratch, for example, and not buy all that stuff that is full of MSG and other stuff that is really not good for you. And that will also kill your organs like liver, kidney, and so on, that you cannot naturally digest anymore. And then we have the card like slay the ego here. We have again a Kali card. You know, the ego, it's exactly the same like with the food. We have an ego, a self, that we are here in this physical body. This is that part of the ego that represents the spirit that I am in this lifetime. But then we have also, like in this false matrix, we have become an artificial ego, which is a program. So again, this first card is connected with that one, that once we go back to nature and find our natural ego, and then we can slay that ego, which is not our natural state of being, but the program. So see, what we have here is like the head, and the head is always representing the mind. And these are all these programs that we have, that we behave with, like all the things that we believe, like not being good enough, there is not enough. Every decade a new topic. In 10 years we won't have trees anymore. In 10 years we won't have electricity anymore. In 10 years, and this goes on. I remember very well when I was in senior high school in the 60s, that they told us in 10 years we'll have no trees anymore. And stuff like that. And this is all fear mongering. And this is what we have to slay. We have to slay all that artificial stuff around us to find our true nature again. And this is also represented in the next card. The brown horse in the front is a mother energy representation. And here the young, the baby in the back, that is like mother and child. And here we have another card, the Scarlet Woman that we had, I think it was in the last reading. This is the feminine aspect, the power of the feminine. And you can see that the horse is also red. In the background, what we have here is actually the four apocalyptic horses, but you see that the one here is only a shadow, but not the real horse anymore. So we are in midst of this apocalypse. So this is the time when everything is changing. But it is not that, it also means the new beginning. It is not the end of everything, but every time something's ending, there is another new beginning. So we can say whenever one door closes, there is another door opening. And that is exactly what is happening now. So it is very important to see also, and we just went, I told you in the astrology reading, through this shadow valley in a way, through Pisces. We have 3 more days, the sun in Pisces, then it moves into Aries on the 19th. So this will be a very powerful new beginning that will start, that the female experience, and you see this is a poppy flower, a red poppy flower, that will bring all that power. When you imagine, this looks a little bit like a satellite dish when you open it, open to the sun, open to the cosmos, open to what really is. So when we are still connected to the old, to the matrix, to the false matrix, and I was talking about that before, that unfortunately the habit are still from the old matrix, because this is the program of the brain. And to get away from that program is not very easy. It's like I said before, you have to drop into the heart. And what you do that it can happen, one thing that helps is when you put your left hand on the heart very often. Like, for example, if you have to make a decision, or if you are insecure about something, put the left hand on top of your heart and focus on that. What would my heart do? And not on what would my mind do. And I want to say here again that, the concept of fear is often just a program. Now, what is happening? There is that fear mongering everywhere. Again, like in 10 years, we don't have this anymore, we have that anymore, and so on and so on. The only one way that they can control people is through fear. And once we move beyond fear, you cannot be controlled anymore, and they don't have power over you anymore. So the more people do that, the more we move away from the false matrix into the organic, divine, or cosmic matrix, which is the underlying matrix where we exist. And again, matrix is not something bad. It's just a stage where we act. We need some kind of a matrix, otherwise we cannot exist. We cannot just float around in the clouds. That would be not what we're here for. We came for an adventure. And maybe this is also time to remind people that the reason that we are here, because we were the very strong souls, we were the elite. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, because the earth brings one of the most difficult topics. And you were chosen, or you choose yourself also, like people up there stand in line to have a life here because they want that. They want to have that highest possibility of evolution that the earth is giving, so that we can really go back into this organic matrix, that we can really move forward faster. And this is like each person, and this is not like the ascension is not happening for everybody at the same time. The ascension, like going into a higher dimension, is connected with going into the natural matrix, that because then automatically our consciousness level is rising because we are not anymore slaves of a program. So this is the being the slave of that program. If we don't slay it, and the program is still here, we cannot move forward because we never will reach that playfulness and that innocence that is shown here with the mother and the child energy here, that is helping us to move into the true wisdom of the feminine, because the false matrix is stolen by masculine, the false masculine energy. And this is also something that is really difficult, especially when you are incarnated in the form of a man in the moment. You don't have to become like a woman, or you don't have to transgender or anything. You have a female part within you, like every female body has a male part within you. Because when we incarnate on this planet, we need to choose a gender. We have to go into this polarity that we can experience. Now, if we would be all neutered and neutral, then we would never be able to have that experience that we have. And especially, we would never be able to truly learn about love. And now this is the case. Here we have the energy also of love in the female aspect here. The surrender of love. Love is always in a way a surrendering to a higher energy, a surrender to the love energy, to go from understanding to innerstanding. That means we don't have expectations anymore. If you go into the true energy of love, you want to give. And this becomes the main topic. You don't ask, what do I receive? You are open and you're ready to give, to be, to give, to surrender, whatever comes up. And this will change you. This will change the whole personality. Like when we talk, like the personality as ego is, you need the vessel to separate you from others. And this is why we have to also be careful not to slay the wrong ego. It's like when we have a jar, and the jar is the ego that holds the water. We can say the soul. If the jar is broken, the water's gone too. So if you want to bring the water home, the soul home, you have to take care of the jar, that it doesn't break. And this is exactly here too. So we have to be careful to slay the right ego. It's a word game. You can talk about personality and ego. So the personality that represents that divine aspect of you has to stay with you. That is the jar. And we can say that the ego, the false ego that was built up by the program, by the matrix, the false matrix program, is like a box around the jar. So you don't see the real jar anymore, the real personality. And this is what we have to find again, that we can finish that incarnation to achieve what we came here to achieve. And it's now, when you move into the higher dimension, the first step to do is to open the female reception, that you can start to again understand again what your true nature is. And this is the first card. It is in the moment now, and especially when we come now into the area sign, that new beginning. You can also use that as, you can make yourself a mantra that you can repeat like every morning or so, that first of all, that the sentence is, Spirit, show me how good it can get. And instead of worry all the time, instead of worry, say that, and make that a mantra that will help you to move forward faster. And then you can also, I surrender to love. Very simple. I surrender to my nature. I surrender to love. I surrender to the divine within. And my personality is the representative of my divine self. So find your own words, make yourself a nice mantra, maybe stick it on the fridge on a few other places that you are reminded often, that you see it again and again. That will help you to move forward, to bring in that energy that is in the moment still in that box of the false matrix, so we can remove that box and be the original jar, the personality which represents the divine part of us, the divine self that is here for an experience. And again, remember, you are strong, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You're strong, you're smart, you're chosen. You're a warrior of the light. And that's why you're here. And especially now, you're here to ascend. You're here to dissolve, in a way we can say, dissolve. You don't have to fight, really. When the light is coming in the morning, the light doesn't have to fight. The light is just here and the darkness will be gone. And that's the same for you too. The moment when you realize who you really are, there is no fight anymore. You just kind of make a switch, that you switch from the false ego to the real personality. Let's use these words. And then the false matrix is so visible and completely falls apart for you. So this is the step of areas of the new beginning that will come in 3 days, and we can prepare now. We can, you can, for example, create some mantras or something for you, and take some time to contemplate that, because this can be very powerful. Okay, so next time we have an astrology reading in about a week, and I see you then. I hope that can help you a little bit to see what is going on, and also to tell you what we can do. I have this question, what can I do? What can I do to ascend, or to speed up my ascension, whatever? This is what you can do. Okay, bye-bye for now. See you soon again.